I need you to stop scrolling right now. I have a secret to share with you, a perspective shift so profound it will change how you view everything you hold dear, especially your own existence and the fate of those you love. Before we dive deep into the extraordinary evidence that challenges everything we think we know about mortality, I need your help. We're a brand new channel, just starting out, and our first big audacious goal is to hit 100 subscribers. If you want more videos like this, videos that explore the great mysteries with intellectual honesty and documented facts, please hit that subscribe button right now. Don't wait. Do it for the journey we're about to take together. And if this video opens your mind and warms your heart even just a little bit, please give it a like. Can we hit 50 likes on this one? That tells YouTube this message matters and it helps us reach our goals so much faster. Thank you. Your support means we can continue this work. Now, let's talk about the impossible, the truly undeniable evidence that suggests the only death that truly exists is the death of the body, and that the beautiful, unique core of who you are, your consciousness, goes on. For centuries, this belief, the existence of life after death and reincarnation, has been relegated to the realm of faith, philosophy, or folklore. But what happens when meticulously gathered, cross-referenced, and scientifically verified facts, often coming from sources we'd least expect, begin to build an undeniable, coherent case? We're not talking about wishful thinking. We're talking about clinical observations, surgical records, and the detailed testimonies of thousands of children. Let's start at the very edge of physical death, with the phenomenon known as the near-death experience, or NDE. But we're going to focus on the cases that offer veridical proof, the ones that defy any physiological explanation. Consider the case of Pam Reynolds, a professional musician from Atlanta, Georgia. In 1991, Pam underwent a highly complex, extremely rare neurological surgery to remove a giant aneurysm in her brainstem. This procedure, called a standstill operation, required her body temperature to be lowered to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Her heart and breathing stopped, and all the blood drained from her head. Her brain activity, measured by an electroencephalogram or EEG, flatlined, zero electrical activity. She was, clinically, about as dead as a person can be. But here is where the science fiction begins to collide with reality. During the procedure, while Pam was in this state of complete induced clinical death, she experienced a profound, out-of-body state. She reported floating above the operating table, observing the surgical team working on her. She heard the bone saw cutting through her skull and described the sound as being like an ancient sound from the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, an auditory sensation that is impossible for a deep comatose patient to perceive. But the real proof came from the details she reported later, when she was successfully revived. She was able to accurately describe the specific type of dental drill used to open her skull, even naming it as a small portable instrument, which was confirmed by the attending surgeon. More astonishingly, she described a specific conversation that occurred while she was out, including one nurse remarking that her arteries were so small that they couldn't insert a specific line, a detail that was impossible for her physical body to have registered. And finally, the most compelling detail, she claimed to have observed the surgeon, Dr. Robert Spetzler, taking a specific instrument from a tray that was located behind her head, near her feet, and accurately described the instrument's unique shape, an instrument used for accessing the brainstem. These verified observations, made while her brain was cold, bloodless, and electrically silent, constitute veridical evidence. They show that consciousness, that spark of self, can function and perceive reality independently of the physical brain. It suggests the brain is not the creator of consciousness, but rather a receiver, a sophisticated transceiver that, when turned off, simply stops filtering the signal, allowing the mind to float free. If NDEs show us that consciousness survives the cessation of brain activity, then the meticulous research into reincarnation provides the strongest evidence that this surviving consciousness returns, retaining memories, behaviors, and even physical marks from its previous incarnation. The undisputed world leader in this field was Dr. Ian Stevenson, a Canadian-American psychiatrist who spent 40 years at the University of Virginia School of Medicine. Stevenson didn't believe in reincarnation when he started his work. He was a skeptic who sought to debunk these claims. Instead, he amassed over 3,000 rigorously documented cases of children who spontaneously recalled details of a previous life. His methodology was key. He focused on cases where the child spoke of the past life before age 4, where the alleged past personality had died violently, and where the family of the past personality was still locatable. The most powerful cases are those that are thoroughly vetted and where the facts are verified before any contact is made with the previous family. Take the famous case of Swanlata Mishra from India, an early case Stevenson investigated. As a young child, Swanlata began speaking in detail about a previous life as a woman named Bia, who lived in Katni, a town over 100 miles away. She named Bia's husband, children, and several family specifics. When Stevenson and his team brought Swanlata to the former family's house, she instantly recognized family members who had aged significantly, correctly identified the rooms of the house, and recounted numerous personal details that only Bia would have known. She even correctly identified the location of buried family treasure. This ability to recall highly specific, verifiable, and non-public information that could not have been obtained through cultural exposure, familial suggestion, or cold reading, is the bedrock of the reincarnation hypothesis. Another powerful type of evidence Stevenson catalogued involves birthmarks and birth defects that match wounds received by the deceased person in the previous life. One case involved an Indian boy who was born with an underdeveloped right hand. He claimed to have been a man named Maha Ram, who had lost his right hand after falling onto a chaff cutter. Stevenson's team located Maha Ram's family and found hospital records confirming Maha Ram had lost his hand in that manner. Another compelling example is the case of Prakesh, a boy who claimed to be a man named Girdhari, who died after being run over by a train, resulting in severe head trauma. Prakesh was born with a large, irregularly shaped patch of thin, discolored skin on his skull, a birthmark located exactly where Girdhari had sustained his fatal injury. In his landmark book, Where Reincarnation and Biology Intersect, Stevenson documents over 200 cases where children possessed birthmarks or defects corresponding to fatal wounds on the body of the deceased personality. The statistical probability of this being random coincidence is negligible, and it suggests a deep connection between the consciousness surviving death and the very blueprint of the subsequent physical body. It paints a picture where the true self, the soul, carries a memory of its last journey and, in some cases, imprints the trauma onto the next physical form. The evidence for life after death isn't just passive, it's also communicative. This brings us to the most debated and fascinating field, communication with the deceased, often through the work of exceptional mediums. To filter out charlatans and fraud, serious scientific investigation has focused on cases that involve double-blind conditions, where the medium is given no prior information and the results are quantitatively verifiable. The history of the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, composed of eminent academics, scientists, and philosophers, provides staggering evidence. The most compelling of these are the cross-correspondences. Cross-correspondences were complex messages received by multiple geographically separated mediums over a period of many years, often delivered in the form of cryptic fragments. No single medium received the complete intelligible message, only when the fragments from different mediums were pieced together, often by SPR investigators who were not the mediums themselves, did a coherent, highly scholarly message emerge. These messages often referenced obscure classical Greek literature, Latin poetry, or complex historical facts. The messages were frequently signed by the alleged deceased communicators, former SPR members like Frederick W. H. Myers and Edmund Gurney, who claimed to be orchestrating this complex communication from the other side, precisely because its complexity and fragmentation would serve as an undeniable proof that no single living person could have fabricated it. This wasn't simple grief counseling, it was an intellectual puzzle designed to prove survival through means that required supernormal, coordinated intelligence. The only logical explanation for the convergence of such complex, verifiable, yet meaningless fragments into a unified, coherent whole is the persistent intelligence of the alleged deceased communicators. Moving to more contemporary proof, we must look at the work of the Skull Experimental Group in the UK, whose experiments were conducted over 5 years in the 1990s. The Skull Group consisted of 2 mediums and several non-medium skeptical investigators, including professional engineers and scientists. They met in a cellar, a controlled, dark environment, and documented hundreds of hours of phenomena that were utterly baffling to the conventional scientific mind. These weren't just simple voices or table knocks. The phenomena included physical objects being materialized and dematerialized inside the room, often inscribed with messages in various languages, photographic film being exposed inside a sealed, light-proof container with images of deceased people or complex symbols, and, most crucially, the appearance of moving lights that interacted intelligently with the researchers. The final report by the SPR investigators concluded that the phenomena they witnessed were genuine and could not be explained by fraud or known physical laws. These events suggest that an intelligent, non-physical team, the so-called spirit team, was deliberately manipulating physical reality to provide verifiable proof of survival, demonstrating not just life after death, but an active, intelligent and communicative presence. But survival isn't just about big dramatic demonstrations. It's also about quiet, poignant moments that touch the human heart. Think about terminal lucidity, a phenomenon documented in palliative care. This is the unexpected return of mental clarity and memory in patients suffering from severe psychiatric conditions or advanced neurological diseases like Alzheimer's or dementia just hours or minutes before death. For example, a patient who has been entirely nonverbal and unrecognizable for years, whose brain scans show massive degradation of tissue, suddenly wakes up, recognizes family members, speaks clearly, offers a final, loving message, and then passes away peacefully. From a purely materialist brain-as-computer perspective, this is impossible. If the brain is the generator of memory and personality, how can it function flawlessly in the final moments, when its physical structure is most compromised? Terminal lucidity suggests that as the body prepares to shut down, the diseased filter, the brain, momentarily opens, allowing the full intact consciousness to shine through one last time before its final separation. It is a loving final proof that the self remained whole, locked inside a failing biological shell. And finally, the shared death experience, or SDE, provides a beautiful and comforting counterpoint to the NDE. In an SDE, a healthy person, often a caregiver or loved one, experiences the dying person's passage. The caregiver might suddenly see a luminous mist or a double of the person leaving the body. They might hear beautiful music or feel a rush of euphoria. Or they might even temporarily enter a shared otherworldly landscape with the dying person. These experiences are shared, observed by a second, fully conscious and healthy individual who is not undergoing any physiological trauma. SDEs show that the passage is not just a personal event, but a universal observable shift in reality. It suggests that when the soul leaves the body, the veil between this world and the next becomes momentarily thin enough for others to witness the transition. When you take all of this evidence together, the veridical NDEs proving consciousness outside the body, the reincarnation cases showing memories and physical marks persisting across lives, the cross-correspondences and skull phenomena demonstrating intelligent communication from the non-physical realm, and the phenomena of terminal lucidity and shared death experiences confirming the soul's ultimate integrity and peaceful passage, a single, unifying conclusion emerges, a conclusion that brings with it profound relief and hope. The only death that exists is the death of the body. Your physical form is simply a sophisticated vehicle, a suit of clothes or a school uniform you wear for a certain period of time to navigate this physical dimension and learn the specific lessons you came here to learn. Your love, your personality, your memories, the very essence of your being, that is spiritual energy, and energy, as we know, can never be destroyed. It can only change form. This truth means that death is not a void, not a terrifying plunge into nothingness, but rather a profound and beautiful transformation, a joyous homecoming. It means that every single person you have ever loved who has shed their physical body is not gone, but has simply removed their suit. They continue to exist, they continue to remember, and they continue to love you fiercely from a different vantage point. The sorrow you feel is not for their annihilation, but for the temporary separation from their physical presence. This understanding takes the sting out of loss. It replaces the agonizing fear of oblivion with the comforting certainty of continuity. The life we live here is essential, but it is just a chapter. The story, the beautiful, eternal story of your unique consciousness, simply continues, filled with light, purpose, and endless opportunity for love. This is the happy ending we all deserve to know, that we are all eternal beings, deeply connected, and forever loved. Our journey has just begun, and the greatest adventure awaits us all. This is a powerful, hopeful realization, and it's backed by mountains of meticulously gathered facts. Now think about that. Is there any other conclusion the evidence supports? We don't think so. We hope you will continue this journey of exploration with us.